This video is going to be traumatic for anyone watching it, so before we get into the absolute nightmare of a farce that this video is going to proceed to become, if you have not seen the video I released quite recently talking about VTubers and their rise to fame, mainly focusing on Gorgora's rise, I would suggest watching that video. It's honestly one of the videos I've put the most work into, it's one of the videos I'm most proud of, and I've had a lot of positive response to it. However, that video hasn't performed too well because of my channel type. That being said, even if you think it might not fit your interests, I would suggest it because it's a video I put a lot of work into, and I personally think it's pretty entertaining. So if you'd give it a chance, that would genuinely mean a lot, and there is a bit of drama in there if that's what you're interested in. I don't really care about the video making any money. Honestly, you can watch it with ad block. I would just appreciate if you could support some of the work that I really love making so that I can continue making videos like this for you. With that being said, if you are new to the channel, please do consider subscribing. That would be highly appreciated as I'm aiming for 100k in the next 2 years. Let's get right into it. Hypnotist Sappho. Hypnotist Sappho. Where do I know that name from?
I am a zoophile. I am a zoophile.
Oh. Yeah, I remember. Hypnotist Sappho is a content creator who likes dogs. Like really likes dogs. In my previous video on Hypnotist Sappho, I discussed one of their videos where they discussed their attraction towards animals, how they felt that it should be normalized, and their comparison of attraction to dogs to being as part of the LGBTQ. Now, obviously for anyone that is informed on anything, you would understand there is a difference between two consenting men or women dating and a woman and a dog or a man and a dog dating. There's a massive difference there. So when I sat down and made my video, I quite obviously said this person shouldn't be supported, but a whole 50 people disagreed with me and disliked that video. To all of you 50 people, why? However, it was recently discovered by me, a few weeks after everyone else, the Hypnotist Sappho had made another video. It's not good. Probably not a surprise, considering who the video's coming from, considering their previous masterpieces on YouTube, but let's sit down, let's go over what they have to say, and once again, it would appear I'm going to have to reiterate why it's wrong to have intercourse with an animal. How is that a real thing I need to say? How? Honestly, give me a second to recuperate my brain. How the fuck is it a real thing I need to state? How do I need to state that you shouldn't sleep with an animal? But whatever, I guess. Let's just get right into it.
I wanted to make a major announcement today, so you might have seen on Twitter or somewhere else that I was going to be making a pretty major announcement, and that is 100% accurate. So I want to preface this by saying that I am working with a large group of people, between 17 and 20 active members of the zoosexual community. And that includes writers, artists, intellectuals, and pretty much everybody that you would need to start an organization from the ground up. And that includes leaders from the community like Lycan, who hosts Zoo Community, and Mike, who is pretty well known in the community. I know that most of y'all won't know who the hell Mike is, but Mike, also a very important leader in this community, and I'm very happy that we have them on board. We also have multiple members of the Zooier Than Thou podcast that are on board, like Toggle and Sigma and some other people. And that's just kind of how I want to preface this, but anyway, why the hell am I talking about having this group of people and how it's a good building block for an organization, right? So I am very happy and proud to announce that I am the chairman of the first zoosexual rights organization in the United States.
And I would like to announce that you're a fucking psychopath. Not only is that one of the most insane ideas I've ever heard, quite obviously at its basics, you don't need an organization for zoosexual rights, and not only that, but you aren't ever going to be accepted in any country. It is indisputable that an animal cannot comprehend that kind of behavior towards them. It is undeniable that what you are enabling by endorsing the actions and behaviors of active zoosexuals is going to lead to animal abuse. But also, I feel like this pushes the bar way past you just being a possible troll, like some other people I've discussed on my channel, straight to someone that is genuinely a concern. Hypnotist Sappho, in their previous video, admitted to an attraction towards animals. I've had people approach me with information that Hypnotist Sappho owns an animal, despite claiming they don't. I can acknowledge with certainty that by producing a group with people involving people from the Zoophile the Now podcast, and many other incredibly dangerous people attracted to animals, Hypnotist Sappho is a concern to animals and not a content creator to respect or promote. This is downright fucking predatory. They've since opened a Twitter account for the Zeta North America non-profit organization. This Twitter account has created a mascot for themselves, and as of right now, they're aiming to get verified. God, I fucking hope they don't get verified. I know what they're trying to do is paint themselves as a victim, a minority that should be in the LGBTQ, by framing themselves as being harassed over their beliefs when they seemingly shouldn't be in their own eyes. But that's not what you are. That's not what this is. If you see an animal and you have attraction to it, you are not just different. Your sexuality isn't different. You are a danger to those animals. You are someone that needs to seek actual help to make sure you don't act upon those urges and target an animal. If you are willing to admit that you believe you should be allowed to engage in sexual ways with an animal despite it being proven that animals cannot consent, you are someone that should not be allowed anywhere near an animal. You are someone that should get help. You aren't someone that should be treated like a victim and supported and sent a bunch of praise. Oh my god, you're so brave for coming out. You're someone that should be in trouble. You're someone that should be looked down upon by society. What you're doing is comparable to many other types of assault. What you're doing is forcing yourself upon a being that cannot consent. If anyone told me this shit that I knew, you would be gone out of my life. I'm not willing to accept that you could be attracted to an animal. This isn't just people looking at zoosexuals differently like people did in the past with the LGBTQ. This is people looking at disgusting, depraved people with concern for the safety of animals. And I don't know how many times I'll need to repeat that before I either get shat on by that community who's gonna try and ravenously defend this behavior, or whether they'll finally fucking acknowledge that maybe there's something wrong here. I don't know how much I need to repeat this before they even consider the possibility that maybe they're just fucking insane. And I know this should go without saying, but if you are willing to make a full video defending your attraction to animals, and you then go as far as to create an organization, a non-profit, to support the rights of people attracted to animals, I don't think it's a far stretch to say that enabling this behavior and allowing communities to cultivate around them without discussion and without criticism is going to lead to a lot more dangers than ignoring it would. Allowing people like this to be fostering a community without nipping it in the bud the second it starts to grow is a terrible idea. But let's see what she has to say now I've gone off on my rant and hopefully made all of those things clear to you.
Zoosexuals Engagement for Tolerance and Acceptance, North America.
So it's an organization that's intended to educate the viewers and make more people more accepting and tolerant of people attracted to animals. Now, I think we can all understand that generally the large portion of people are not going to agree with or support this movement. But as long as this website is allowed to exist, a lot of other people that do support this behavior, engage with it, or are tolerant of it are going to cultivate into a bigger community. I mean, as is, with only 5,000 subscribers, Sappho's already reached out to a large portion of that community. And it does concern me how many of those people there are. Considering they've now got writers and everything else you could need to make an organization, it does concern me. But that doesn't really mean they're going to influence many perspectives of people outside of that group unless those people are extremely easy to manipulate and exploit. But I feel like generally the response to these articles is going to be pretty expected. If they make an article in any way justifying that animals can consent, debating against the science, they're not going to win it. It's not going to go well. Fundamentally, at its core, what they're arguing is a losing battle. It's a hill that they shouldn't be dying on.
Plus load balancing in Cloudflare and all kinds of crazy settings. Like, it would be very, very tough to try taking us down, essentially. But
now, if you pay attention to this video, you might actually notice that you can hear a dog in Sappho's mic while she is talking. Now, whether this is just background noise that she had turned on in a device, I heavily doubt that. It's likely that Sappho actually does own an animal, which again concerns me, because if Sappho is in active contact with an animal while hosting a website that involves promoting engagement in sexual ways with animals, and also has made a video admitting to being attracted to animals, I don't think it's a far stretch to presume that she might be forcing herself upon this animal. And there's no justification for that. Sappho talked in her previous video about how she and her mate would do things like this as long as the mate consented, which an animal can't consent. Obviously, if Sappho is involving themselves with this animal, that should be a concern to many people, and I hope it's a crime where they live. If that is the case, I hope there's something that could be done here to protect this animal at least. This animal should at least be taken into protection in some way, but it does concern me. It does genuinely concern me. Hypnotist Sappho is someone that genuinely shouldn't be trusted around animals, and obviously shouldn't be trusted at their word on anything. They shouldn't be supported in any way. Anyone that says they're attracted to animals and wants to promote that shouldn't be supported in any way. That should probably go without saying.
ultimately, I think the whole situation has been a lesson to myself about turning negativity and hate towards something that is a lot more constructive and is ultimately going to make a lot bigger of a difference than just bickering over the internet with some commentators or, arguing with one-off people, essentially.
It's heartbreaking to know that Sappho's conclusion from all of the backlash they've received was not that they were in the wrong, was not that they were justifiably receiving hate from the shit they'd announced that they were doing and attracted to on their channel. It's sad that their conclusion was that they should go towards creating a group that brings zoosexuals into the LGBTQ and quote-unquote educates people on zoosexual rights. This honestly must be a wet dream for the homophobes and transphobes that were always saying, what's next for the LGBTQ? Animal sexual? Because people like Sappho are making it seem like that's something the LGBTQ are aiming for or tolerates or accepts, when it isn't. The LGBTQ community is not a community that fosters inclusivity for people attracted to animals, and it never will be. That's not what the LGBTQ is for. And anyone pretending it is, like Sappho, does not represent the rest of the LGBTQ. Frankly, it's disgusting to me that someone is so desperate to have intercourse with an animal and justify it to themselves so that they can sleep at night that they decided to make an organization instead of seeking actual help for themselves. When your only motive behind making an organization is so that you can feel like you're okay to fuck your animal, your organization is built to fail and built on some pretty unstable groundworks. But I know at this point in the video, debunking any more points from Sappho is worthless. If you haven't already agreed with me from the start, I'm not gonna change your mind. And while this video is primarily made to bring awareness to the fact that this shit exists and to send people to call this shit out so it isn't allowed to be enabled, while I don't promote harassment, criticism is always valid, I know that saying more of these points isn't going to change anyone's mind, so there's no point dragging this video out. If you did enjoy this video or agree with what I had to say in it, please do leave a like, that would be highly appreciated. You can also subscribe to the channel if you'd like to support me. I'm aiming for 100k in the next 2 years, and as I mentioned at the start of the video, if you could check out that video, the one on Gorgora, the rise of VTubers, that would be highly appreciated. It's a video I put so much work into. It's one of my biggest passion projects on the channel. I really loved making every second of it. I put so much work into editing. I had people like The Right Opinion help proofread my script. I'd appreciate if you could check it out, really. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.
Says she wanna rock with a nigga like me. I'm a stylish guy. Spend a little guap with a nigga like me. We can catch a fly. Says she wanna rock with a nigga like me.